Niners, baby. 34-3 dub over the Duval Jaguars. I'm so happy that we're back in the win column. It felt like we're never going to win again. That 3-game losing streak was long, rough, and hard. We needed that bye week to get healthy. We had Trent Williams back today. We had Deebo Samuel back today. Dre Greenlaw had a week to recover his ailments, so we had a full and capable Dre Greenlaw back there, which was a big deal. But let's talk about this game. So I want to talk about the bad things first, get those out of the way, then we can talk about all the good. Colton McGivitz sometimes looks really rough. Today, there was a lot of moments where he looked real rough, getting bull rushed hard, which was making Brock Purdy be under even more duress than what he needed to be. So that was just something that stood out to me. Lenore played in the slot today. No Oliver. Maybe it was just him feeling it out, but there was just moments where Lenore looked lost, for sure. The Jaguars were definitely getting a lot of underneath routes, a lot of rub routes going, and Lenore was, trailing in those routes, struggling to cover his guy. And I know these are two things that, ultimately you look at the score and you're like, Keith, you just won 34-3. Why are you even, talking about these kind of things? Jaguars did not have a good day today. We play a team with a better guy that could, actually murder us in the slot. I'm thinking, Tyreek Hill over here. I'm thinking, long term. I'm thinking down the road when we play Philly, for example, with Devonta Smith in the slot. Just these kind of things just worry me. Something like Hassan Reddick coming off the edge. These things kind of worry me a little bit. So just things to look at and to hopefully get better at by the time we get to Philly here in a few weeks. And then the only other thing is Mooney Ward out there on an island. The refs just don't like him. If he looks at somebody wrong, if he even thinks about touching that receiver, they're gonna call a penalty on him. That's just all there is to it. It keeps happening, and I'm just wow. He has to be near the top of the league in most penalized corners. He has to be, and it's not always his fault. There's that 5-yard window of contact that you're allowed to have, and it seems like the Niners get no leeway with that. They even called offensive pass interference on Brandon Ayuk today, and it's they both collided at 5 yards. So, though that I don't like that. I wish the refs would just swallow the whistle in those moments, unless it really impeded the play. It was just so egregious. If it's not so egregious that you have to throw the flag, don't throw it. Anyways, those are only really the 3 things that stood out to me negatively today. So let's talk about all the good. Brock Purdy, he looked comfortable. He took so many chances, and they worked. That's what he is. He's a high-risk, high-reward quarterback, but he's also high IQ. That's what a lot of people that don't watch every single play that he plays and realize what you're watching, Brock Purdy is high IQ. So a lot of the throws he was throwing today, buddy. The George Kittle, the very long George Kittle pass, he was under duress. He had rushers coming from the right side and the middle, and he could barely step up. He could barely step up into that pocket because it was collapsing. He couldn't roll out around. And somehow, as he's getting hit, he throws the ball to the most perfect spot to George Kittle, who's out there on an island one-on-one coverage. You got to throw it to George. But not only do you throw it to George, but you throw it to the most perfect spot that you could throw it to, while not really fully being able to step into the throw and getting hit as you're throwing the ball. That was one of the best Brock Purdy plays that I've seen him do in the NFL, period. Maybe number one, just for that pure throw. Wild. People don't give him credit for his arm strength, and they always focus on his accuracy and his smarts. Well, right there, that is pure strength. And the way that he was getting out of potential sacks today shows how slippery he is and how strong he really is, because he had to maneuver his way once again through many pressures and potential sacks, and he got away and he got out of it. He is very underrated in evading pass rushers, and he's got to keep evolving at that, because when we play teams like Seattle and Philly coming up here, they're gonna bring it. So that was a big thing. But he had 296 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, no turnovers, 148 quarterback rating. Kittle, 3 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. Ayuk, 3 catches, 55 yards and a touchdown. McCaffrey also had 6 catches for 47 yards. He also had 95 yards on the ground. It's really sad that McCaffrey's touchdown streak ended today. He had 17 straight games with a touchdown. Today it ended. They tried so hard to get him in that end zone at the end of the game, but it's like you knew it was going to McCaffrey, so all you got to do is zero in on him. So that was dead. But still 17 straight games with a touchdown. He had basically 150 total yards today. Like, the boy's a freak. He's got to be in the MVP talks for sure. Deebo, 4 catches, 30 yards. He also had 3 rushes for 30 yards and a touchdown. So Deebo just out there, his blocking, the ability to run the ball, just getting into the end zone as the weapon gadget machine he is. That was a huge thing having him back. It was a huge thing having Trent Williams back. Like, those two on the field make our offense really go. Trent Williams takes our running game to a whole nother level, takes our passing game to a whole nother level, because it allows Brock Purdy's blind side to be protected, and you're very comfortable having potentially the best offensive lineman of all time, if not one of them, protecting your backside. Today everything was flowing and the momentum was on our side. Still, 7 penalties against us for 90 yards. That's got to calm down. We lost the penalty battle today. We were still 4 for 12 on 3rd down. Same for Jacksonville. That's got to improve. We came out the gate red hot, like on fire. And then all of a sudden, like, there was multiple drives where it just stalled and just things weren't happening. They're around the second quarter-ish time. And I'm like, okay. Thank God our defense came to play, which is what I want to end this video on, because Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Arik Armstead, Javon Hargrave, and then Colin Farrell, Kinlaw. My gosh. The fact that I can just name 6 of our linemen in game-wrecking fashion is an amazing feat. We sacked Trevor Lawrence today 5 times. That's a big deal. Pressured him many, many more times. Hit him many, many more times. Stripped the ball from him. Forced him into 2 interceptions. Fred Warner and Hufanga with the interceptions. Javon Hargrave and Nick Bosa both had a sack and a half. And then Arik Armstead and Chase Young both had a half sack. So everybody was getting back to the quarterback, and it was a good time. Oh, and Colin Farrell had a sack and a TFL. Nick Bosa had a TFL. Arik Armstead had a TFL. You get a TFL. You get a TFL. You get a sack. Everybody was on the defense doing what they needed to do. That's our defense looking like a well-oiled machine. That's our team looking like a well-oiled machine. That's what it looks like. So now they go to Tampa. Tampa has a top 5 rush defense in the league. Their offense, though, I think is a very good matchup for the way our defense plays. So if we take this momentum and play Tampa like we just played Jacksonville, shouldn't be a problem. We should be shutting down good old Baker Mayfield next week. But once that happens, of course, we'll talk about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you watched the Niner game today, or if you just want to talk about anything in the NFL that happened, comment that down below. Feels good that I can watch ESPN and FS1 and all the things this week and not have to hear my Niner slander, because Brock Purdy played great, everybody played great, defense played great. Gonna be a great week. Yes, sir. Hope y'all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you. Peace.